Hello everyone, welcome to Inconvenient Truth. I'm your host, Jennifer Zeng. Last time we talked about how the New York Times so-called investigate reports on Shen and Falun Gong are completely devoid of news value, and their smear tactics were no different from that of the CCP. Actually, regarding the so-called money-making allegations, Mr. Li Hongzhi spoke publicly about this issue at a Falun Gong experience sharing conference in Canada in May 1999, before the persecution of Falun Gong officially began. This is what he said, quote, "Let me take this opportunity to say a little more about there are some reporters here. Some people wonder, is Li Hongzhi a millionaire? You can regard me as a millionaire, a billionaire, or a trillionaire. That is fine because what I have is worth more than all the money and wealth in the world. In fact, if you look at that from another angle, does it matter whether I have money? Even if I had money, I wouldn't care about it. For example, there are 100 million students studying the Fa. By the way, the Fa here means Falun Dafa. And if I ask all of you now to give me $1, think about it. If all of you gave me $1, then I would be 100 millionaire. Moreover, since all of you are willing to give it to me at any time, you can just regard me as 100 millionaire. Some people have gone everywhere to probe me and to investigate how much money I have made from selling the books. I can tell all of you that the royalties were a few thousand yuan each time my books were published by the official publishers in China. The entire total was just over 20,000 yuan, which is about a few thousand US dollars. That's all. Since the publishers are state-owned, they don't offer royalties like the publishers in other countries. That's all they pay you. For books published in other places, they pay the author a royalty of 5%, 6%, 7%, or at most 8% once the contract is signed. What I got was very little, but I basically live on the royalty money. I'd like to tell you, don't be attached to this matter. It's useless for you to investigate it. Why would I put forth so much effort just to make money? All I would need would be to tell all of you to give me $10, then I would be a billionaire. What a fast and easy way that would be. You would all be happy to give it to me and I could receive it openly. Why would I resort to putting forth so much effort? I think that sometimes people have impure intentions. They take things in a very narrow-minded and stupid way." Unquote. I'll emphasize again, Mr. Li Hongzhi said this in May 1999. Since then, Falun Gong practitioners in China have been suffering the most ruthless persecution. Take myself as an example. I was arrested 4 times, then imprisoned in forced labor camp where I barely escaped death. But I never gave up my faith. For most every Falun Gong practitioner in China, they have to let go of life and death and all worldly attachments to be able to come through the persecution and still hold fast to their faith. If they didn't let go of life and death and all worldly attachments, they would have given up long ago. Many have lost jobs and income resources, but didn't give up. For these people, nothing can shake their faith in Falun Gong and their master. If each of them were to give $10 to their master, would any of them hesitate? Of course not. Then wouldn't Mr. Li immediately become a billionaire? If he wanted to get rich, why would he need to go through so much trouble? Imagine this. In the US, both Chinese culture and people are minorities. How tough would it be for someone wanting to get rich to start a performing arts troupe here, focusing on reviving traditional Chinese culture through classical Chinese dance, starting from zero in the West, promoting an art form completely unknown to Westerners at a time when classical arts are fading. How hard is that? Also, in today's world where the internet is so advanced and almost everything can be watched for free online, how many people are still willing to go to a theater to watch live performances? If any other group tried to do this, they might have gone bankrupt long ago. Who in the world would dare to make money in this way? Therefore, just as Mr. Li Hongzhi said, sometimes people have impure intentions. They take things in a very narrow-minded and stupid way. So the words he spoke in 1999 still hold true today, especially when it comes to the New York Times, right? Actually, one of the fundamental requirements of practicing Falun Gong is to let go of attachment to money and personal gain, and many practitioners have achieved this. Many police officers in prisons, through close contact with Falun Gong practitioners imprisoned there, have understood this. When I was detained in a detention center in Beijing, one police officer said if he had money, he would let Falun Gong practitioners manage it because he believed they would never take his money. That is to say, when even the police who suppress Falun Gong understand the character of Falun Gong practitioners. Sadly, there are too many bad people and bad things in the world now. So people are more willing to believe that if someone does something, their motive must be money. This is the psychological basis for the writers of the New York Times attacks on Shen Yun. They think everything is about money. They either don't understand or don't believe there are people in the world with motives higher than making money. Here, I must say the New York Times used very despicable methods to reverse the order of events to openly defame Mr. Li Hongzhi and Falun Gong. The New York Times said, quote, as Shen Yun has amassed wealth, its supporters have purchased real estate for Mr. Li's movement, including Falun Gong's 400-acre headquarters known as Dragon Springs, which is about 60 miles northwest of New York City, unquote. This statement is a completely lie. The piece of land where Dragon Springs temple stands was bought by Falun Gong practitioners in 2000, 6 years before Shen Yun was established. It was a desolate piece of land with only one very broken 3-bedroom wooden house surrounded by wild, forested land without even a parking lot. When it was bought, it wasn't worth much, maybe only a few $100,000 at most. After buying the land, Mr. Li Hongzhi and several of his disciples started the construction bit by bit because there was no money to hire people. Over more than 20 years, with all the work done by Falun Gong practitioners themselves, it was gradually built into what it is today. Shen Yun was only established at the end of 2006, and initially it had no income and no money. So it was Mr. Li Hongzhi leading his disciples who built Dragon Springs Temple on this desolate land to provide a living and rehearsal base for Shen Yun, not that Falun Gong practitioners bought real estate including Dragon Springs with money accumulated from Shen. The New York Times deliberately reversed the order of events to give the impression that Mr. Li Hongzhi and Falun Gong profited much from Shen. In fact, although Mr. Li is the artistic director of Shen, he does not take a single penny in salary from it. All his work is voluntary. He has no property, no car, no money. All money earned by Shen is on Shen books. Not a single cent goes to Mr. Li's account. But the New York Times' sinister writing style tries to suggest how much Mr. Li benefits from it. In reality, Mr. Li lives very simply, usually staying in a dormitory at Dragon Springs Temple. He not only guides Shen performers artistically, but also composes music, writes lyrics, designs costumes, and leads disciples in feather construction work, often taking the heavier end when lifting wood. In the relatively closed environment of Dragon Springs Temple, even if he had money, there would be no place to spend it. His only income is from book royalties. Speaking of this, I want to share another secret with everyone. I have also participated in the construction of Dragon Springs Temple as a volunteer. Around 2011, shortly after I arrived in the U.S. and started working as a reporter for NTD, Newtown Dynasty Television, I heard that Dragon Springs needed help, so I signed up to volunteer on weekends. Can you imagine what my job was the first time I went? It was to clean nails and bits of cement off some old, long pieces of wood that had already been used. These pieces of wood were going to be reused as molds for pouring concrete. In other words, the old wooden boards would be used to build a long rectangular mold like this. Then concrete would be poured into these molds. So first, we had to take one piece of old wood from a huge pile that looked like a small hill and carry it to an open space. Then, using tools like hammers, chisels, and small shovels, we cleaned off the nails and bits of cement off the wood. After that, we moved the cleaned wood to another place and stacked it up. Honestly, removing nails was relatively easy. Getting the concrete off the wood was really hard, especially since I wasn't used to physical labor. After one day's work, my back and wrists ached very badly, and it took a week to recover. The second time I went, I did what they called nailing sheetrock, which involved nailing thin sheetrock boards onto concrete walls with a drill. This work was also exhausting, particularly because I was new to using a drill, which was heavy. And I had to stand on a ladder to reach the ceiling, holding the drill up like this. This is an image from the internet, not from when I was working there. No one thought to take a picture at the time. After a day of this work, I was also in pain and too tired even to talk. Due to various reasons, I only went those 2 times. But I know many other Falun Gong practitioners from around the world volunteer there frequently. Some even live there to work. Some drive from Washington, D.C. on weekends, work there for 2 days and drive back. And others even drive from Canada to volunteer on weekends. Can you believe that? Driving there from Canada takes 10 hours one way, and it takes another 10 hours to drive back. So, starting 6 years before Shenyun was established until now, all the buildings at Dragon Springs Temple have been built brick by brick by volunteers. Without hiring outside workers, Dragon Spring Temples now has professional rehearsal halls and a performance theater. So dance techniques such as this are demonstrated in the theater there. And there are also various Tang Dynasty-style buildings, pavilions, and towers, very beautiful. These facilities now accommodate over 2,000 people from Shenyun's 8 companies for rehearsals and living. The New York Times claimed that Dragon Springs Temple's assets were bought with money from Shenyun is a completely distortion of the truth and utter nonsense. The New York Times was also shocked to report that Shenyun's winning strategy was to have local Falun Dafa association bear the costs of the performances. Is this really a big deal to dig into? Mr. Li Hongzhi has long said, no matter what method the evil uses or how much money they spend, they can't manage to harm Dafa as they intended. We do things with our hearts, while they do things with money. There is no comparison. So what's wrong with treating the promotion of Shenyun as a shared mission for our entire cultivation group, our Falun Gong family, and using the strength of Falun Gong practitioners around the world to do it? Our group has nothing except our faith and the selfless contributions of those who believed in truthfulness, compassion, and forbearance. We haven't used any ill-gotten gains. Instead, we are using our own efforts and the methods that our group has found most suitable. What's wrong with that? Practitioners in different places willingly volunteer their time and effort or even invest their own money to help promote Shenyun. What's wrong with that? Are you, the New York Times, jealous about that you can't find so many people willing to work for you for free? I really hope the New York Times has the courage to answer the questions I've raised. Okay, due to time constraints, let's stop here today. Next time, I'll share more secrets of Shenyun and Falun Gong with you that the New York Times failed to expose. But before you go, please like and share this video, leave us a comment, or either subscribe to my X account or visit my website at jenniferzengblog.com to sign up for a membership or make a donation. Your support is vital to enable me to continue sharing the inconvenient truths. Thank you and see you next time.